Hey, Shalom, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakaha Kodash. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. A sincere Shalom, Labakariam, Shal Yasha'Allah. That's peace to the hopeful elect of the nation Israel. And I just woke up. It's about 5 in the morning. We all do about the same thing. Thank Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shah for waking us. And, we get right to business. Our eyes are focused on not just the domestic news, but world news. So this was on my feed, from it was left by Off Grid. There's a storming. It's a channel. I'm going to follow them. Zachman. Sounds Russian. But some interesting news here. This is tensions rise. NATO attacks Russia in the Baltic region. This is heavy because if you know what's going on in the Baltic region, this is a heavy space for these cables, as you're going to see, that runs fuel, energy, internet, you name it, through, France, Sweden, and some of the other 7 heads and 10 horns that you read in Revelation, which makes up the beast, So we keep our eye on prophecy, not just the little details in a pocket here and there. You got to look at prophecy as a whole, because this matters. NATO is moving without the whore, which is America right now, because you don't hear anything about Trump being involved with this. And as the old administration was leaving, you didn't hear anything about Biden being involved with this here. So this is kind of on a hush-hush in the mainstream news, but this is what's happening around the world. So that's why we keep our eyes on the book. In fact, it's locking. That's my dog. Got a pit bull. He's just waking up here. She hears my voice. When you go here, this is 1 Peter's 1 verse 19. It says, we have also a more sure word. Now this word in the Greek, it goes into steady, stable, trusty. So we have a more trusty, safe, perfect. So we have a more sure word of prophecy. Everything is about prophecy, Akim Akwath. Everything is about prophecy. It's a reason, because we're looking for the return of our Lord Yahushua. And these prophecies leads to the return of Yahushua HaMashiach. Wherefore you do well that you take heed. So take heed to these prophecies. You got to keep your eyes on these prophecies. Everything is boiling down to prophecy. It's always been about prophecy, but you're going to start seeing it more and more. As unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn. This is the kingdom coming in. And it only comes in when Yahushua returns. So until that day dawn, we're going to be in this darkness under the rulership of Esau. But we're looking for the day dawn. And the day star, who's the day star? That's Yahushua. What's that? Revelation 22:16. The day star is Yahushua. Arise in your hearts. So until this happens right here, we keeping our eyes on prophecy and we taking heed. Let's get into some prophecy right here. This is actually lovely.
While all the attention of the world community is focused on Ukraine and the future negotiations between the United States and Russia, no less dramatic events are unfolding in the Baltic region. Many experts and analysts have already stated that the events occurring in the Baltic region, particularly in the Baltic Sea, could lead to an outbreak of a global war on a scale that humanity has never witnessed before.
And it's
Your favorite rapper, he's not rocking a $100,000 watch,
will
bro.
be the third
It's a
World War.
Cartier. Real talk, I copped my...
As you may recall, over the past 3 months, the NATO countries of the Baltic region have begun to regularly report damage to communication and power cables running along the bottom of the Baltic Sea.
And I'm going to reiterate, that war will be the Third World War. These are the cables here. We're going to get right into that. But let me just show you. Because the Third World War is in the Bible. Everything is in the book. But remember, we focusing on prophecy. So we're waiting for this war to kick off. This is Revelations 11 verse 14. It says, the second World War is past. That was 1945 when they dropped that bomb on Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and the other, I think it was about 5 cities that was around that area. So that war is over. That was a very deadly war. So now we're looking for, and behold, the third woe. The word woe means destruction and calamity. The third woe cometh quickly, and we see it approaching, and that's the great war. But these are the cables here. These are the cables here that's in question. Who cut some of these cables and damaged these cables? And this is why, NATO is attacking Russia. They're going back and forth. Now, will this lead to discussions? See, this is my thing when I'm looking. Will this lead to behind the door discussions with NATO and Russia? We're going to find out, because the prophecy states that the 7 heads and 10 horns, when you read the book, before we get back in, let me just explain this is for the new listeners, who come over here, you got your eyes on prophecy. That's good. That's good. But you got to know exactly what's going on inside this book, because NATO, as well as Russia, is in the book. Okay? But they're under code names. You're not going to see the word NATO. You're not going to see Russia. But there's clues and indications, and you need to know your maps to put all this stuff together. Okay? This is Revelation 13, the 2 beasts. Okay? You got the first beast, which was Russia. So I could slip of the tongue. The first beast, which was Rome, and then the second beast is the EU and NATO, and then you got the whore that sits on the beast, which is America. Okay, Russia is not a part of the 7 heads and 10 horns, but Russia is a part of prophecy, which is bringing down the beast all together, bringing down the whore that sits on the beast, which entail going to bring himself down, as well as the rest of the beast. So this is Revelation 13 and 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, this is John, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. This is NATO. Now it's about 30 of them, but when they first formed their alliance, it was 10. It was 10. And upon his horns 10 crowns, and this is rulership. So this is symbolic. This is parabolic talk here. So they have rulership, and upon his heads the names of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. This is the start of the Edomite structure, because all these NATO are all so-called white men. These are all Edomites. The Edomites are here. So the Edomites will be in rulership upon the day star arriving, which is our Lord Yahushua. And this is their structure. They rule out of America, Britain, the EU, and NATO, which involves Canada as well. Okay? And it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. This was the beginning. This is this is going back to Daniel's, the 7th chapter now. The Greeks ruled, that started off Esau's rulership, okay? And his feet, now the ending of this system will be the feet, which is the bottom of something, were like the feet of a bear. And what's the symbol of Russia? The bear. So the bear is going to end this for them. And his mouth was the mouth of a lion, which is Britain. And the dragon, the first dragon, gave him his power. The beast and the dragon is synonymous with each other. And this was Rome. And when Esau, the so-called white man, came out of his bottomless pit, the thing that he stood on was the image, right? Or the policies or the politics of Rome. And they rebuild, which came the Renaissance, after the pattern of ancient Rome. So Rome, the first dragon or the first beast, gave this man his power. Okay? And it says, and his seat and great authority. So this is what we're looking at right now: the 7 heads and 10 horns, and the bear. They're locking horns. But will they have secret talks behind closed doors? Because you don't hear this on American news at all, that this is going on. So they're keeping this information hush hush. But these cables that you're looking at is very, very important. And one thing Russia got is few. Russia got few.
Moreover, the leadership of the North Atlantic Alliance called what is happening in the Baltic Sea a real sabotage, and accused Russia of this. The most interesting thing is that all these accusations against Russia had no evidentiary basis, and were literally sucked from a thumb. However, this did not prevent the NATO countries from attacking Russian ships in the Baltic Sea. In particular, on December 25, 2024, in the Baltic Sea, NATO special forces attacked and seized the Russian oil tanker Eagle S. Later, the Finnish authorities stated that this Russian vessel was detained due to suspicion of damage to the power cable East Link 2. According to the Finnish authorities, this Russian vessel allegedly damaged an underwater cable using an anchor.
Now you see this?
However, Finland...
This is a serious cable. You know, it's a few of these cables. Now you can't forget about Nord Stream pipeline, Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. But you're looking at the cable, you know, and like they said, allegedly, but you see it yourself. There's sabotage here. Now, this could have been, you know, America, you know, because I know they were blamed for Nord Stream 1 and 2, you know, to put more dependency with NATO on America. But when you look at, this is just a map of that area. And as you can see, this cable, let me see, this, let me get another one. This is a pointing cable here. This is the sabotage, yeah, this is a sabotage cable here. As you can see, it's coming from, that's Germany down there. And see, you're looking at the 7 heads and 10 horns, this area. This is all the EU and NATO. Now, you do have some countries that's not a part of the EU, but they are a part of NATO, okay? Which is the military structure, the might, the power, the force, because America is not part of the EU, but they are a part of NATO, as well as Canada. You know, and these are all Edomites here. These are all Edomites, man. You can't deny this. There's no Chinese people involved. There's no Arabs. There's no so-called Africans. You know, this is all end-time prophecy here. And you can see this is from Germany and up there, Finland. So supposedly Russia, somebody clicked this, okay? And this is one, and it was actually 2 of them, you know. But this is one, and this is major. And you can see how far it expands, and that's the Baltic Sea. Yeah, so these are called the Baltic cables. The Baltic, and they're very, very vital, you know. These are essential for the survival of the 7 heads and 10 horns. You know, energy, you need energy, oil, you need the internet. You know, and they run this underwater. So that's what you're looking at here. This cable here. Okay. So this is all going to matter. You know, this is all going to matter. because we have a more sure word of prophecy. Our Lord is on his way, and these things are going to keep happening.
Later admitted that the NATO countries have no evidence that it was the Russian oil tanker Eagle S that caused the damage to the underwater power cable. A month earlier, at the end of November 2024, 2 more cables were damaged at the bottom of the Baltic Sea.
So that's
These
3.
were BCS East-West Interlink and Sea Lion 1 communication cables. These cables connected countries such as Germany, Finland, Sweden, and Lithuania. Back then, the NATO countries once again blamed Russia for what happened, and called on the North Atlantic Alliance's leadership to strengthen the Baltic Sea security. Against this backdrop, from January 2025, NATO warships began patrolling the Baltic Sea. This operation was called the Baltic Sentry. It is expected that in the coming weeks, NATO's military presence in the Baltic Sea will significantly increase with additional warships from Germany, France, Norwegia, Latvia, and Finland.
It's getting hot.
In fact, the main purpose of this operation is to organize a blockade of the Gulf of Finland and prevent Russian ships from entering the Baltic Sea. Commenting on this situation, Russian presidential aide, Nikolai Patrushev, called NATO's actions terrorist, and that Russia would have to use military force to solve this issue. In its quest to weaken Russia, NATO is increasingly using terrorist methods. These terrorist methods are manifested not only in Ukraine, but also in the Baltic region. NATO's actions are not only destroying the global maritime trade system, but also negatively affecting the overall safety of cargo and passenger transportation. Russia will never turn a blind eye to this, Nikolai Patrushev said. Furthermore, an influential Russian politician and member of the Federation Council of the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Jabarov, bluntly stated that Russia will have to destroy NATO, due to the alliance's efforts to isolate Russia and close access to the Baltic Sea for the Russian ships.
Now that's heavy talk. See, all this is going on right up under your nose, while the focus is on Trump and those executive orders, which matters. This is going to, kick off Jacob's trouble. We believe through the Spirit that the MOTB, the mandatory implantation of that RFID chip, is inside some of those executive orders that he signed, and it will be pushed real soon. The digital system, all this is boiling down to their new world order. But over these people's head, these Americans' head, you got stuff like this that's happening, and that matters. I mean, it matters, because we need the 7 heads and 10 horns, which is the EU and NATO involved in shaking it up and mixing horns with Russia. You need that. And you need Russia on the scene at this time, because, like I said, the feet of it, which is an end time prophecy. This is Ezekiel 38, verse 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me. This is Ezekiel here, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Og, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against them. Now, these are Japhetic people. Now, Japhet was up in that land. Let me get this map here. This is not a map of, this is a map of what they call Europe, but I thought I had Russia up here. I want to use that map, but Japhet had Russia's, that area. It wasn't called Russia at the time. The Japhetic people were up there. So these are the sons of Japhet, but it's an end time prophecy. So it's using these names to describe who's in the land today. Now, a key or a hint here is chief prince. That's why I say you got to go to your maps, look up your words. Mainly, you need the Holy Spirit for this here, man. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Og, the land of Magog, meaning against Og, the land of Og, which is Russia, chief prince. And when you go into chief, which is Rasha, and prince, which is this is chief, Rosh, which is chief. This is where you get the word Rosh Shah, because Rosh Shah You know, that's a root word, Rosh, meaning chief, and Shah, meaning prince. But this is Rosh, top, the summit, the upper part. So at the end, that bear, that feet, the feet of it, the bear will be in charge. And there's 3 superpowers right now. It's Russia, America, and then China. Yes, Russia is in front. Russia has more nuclear weapons than America. Look it up. And they have things that the Pentagon can't stop. That's why when Trump was in office, they ceased from re-signing that nuclear arms deal where they let each other know what they're building, because behind closed doors, Russia was building that Satan 1, that Satan 2, and other ballistic missiles that can't be stopped, and they wasn't notifying the Pentagon about this. So that nuclear treaty wasn't renewed. So America tried to, jump on it, but it was too late. Russia got all kind of missiles, man. They got the father of all bombs, the Fab. They got the Fab 500, the Fab 1000, the Fab 5000. And these bombs are, they carry the same impact as a nuclear bomb without the nuclear fallout. So Russia is the top nuclear power. The Lord made them, He made them the summit. He made them the top. He made them the head, because this is an end time prophecy. So the other nations are seeing this, so they want to get behind Russia. And that's why I said, well, this lead to talks, secret behind the door talks. So you got Rush, then you got Prince, which is Shah, or Shah, which is chief, or prince, or captain, or leader. So Russia is the chief leader, at this time. And when you go into this root word here, check this root word out. This is where NASA gets its
Strong's
name from.
H5375, NASA.
This is NASA. And with NASA, they deal with outer space. They got a saying for this: never a straight answer, because they don't never tell you what they seeing up there. But this is NASA, which is to lift up, to bear up, to take up. And where you find NASA is up there in space, to lift up, to carry, to support, sustain, endure. So all this is in the scripture. That's what I had started with. We have a more sure word of prophecy. Okay? So now we got that clear. I'm going to read it again. It says, and the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Og, which is Russia, the land of Og, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I am against thee, O Og, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back. So the Lord has put power. Russia is in front. Russia has been all in the news these past 4 years, like never before. And that's what that whole war with Ukraine is, because Ukraine belongs to Russia. That's their territory. So they turn it back to that old Soviet spirit. But now Russia is more gangster, because look at the firepower. And, look at the resource, the ruble. The ruble is backed by gold right now. So Russia is standing up. The Lord is put him as that summit at this time. So the Lord said, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses, horsemen, and all clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklets, shields, and all of them handling swords. This is their military. Persia, these are the people that's going to be rolling with Russia. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all of them with shields and helmets. And Persia is part of end time prophecy too. You look Persia up, as you can see. A former country in Southwest Asia, now called Iran. And is it Iran rolling with the bear? Yes, they are. Iran is rolling with the bear. So it's prophesied that they will be on the scene as well. Okay, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Tamar and the North Quarter and all his band and many people with them. Be thou, so Russia will be prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. And yes, this man will be put in front. And that's why you're hearing so much talk, with the economy, with BRICS. So everybody's standing behind Russia. That's the new big boy. That's how the Lord has set this thing up. Because remember, the prophecy is that bear is going to bring things down. Ultimately, the Lord is going to smash Og. The Lord is not with Og like you think. The Lord is using these Russians. But these Russians ultimately going to tear America down as well as themselves.
According to him, the NATO countries, with the help of provocations with underwater cables, created an artificial reason to start patrolling the Baltic Sea in order to block Russian ports and ships. Vladimir Jabarov reminded the NATO countries that in the 18th century, Emperor Peter the Great cut a window through Europe, providing Russia with an outlet to the Baltic Sea, after which Russia turned into a great maritime power. And this fact was very annoying to the West. Since the 18th century, the West has constantly tried to block Russia in the Gulf of Finland, doing everything possible to prevent Russian ships from entering the Baltic Seas. Consequently, Russia had to confront Western countries and achieve military victories over them, to safeguard its national interests. Vladimir Jabarov expressed confidence that if NATO continues to provoke Russia in the Baltic region, Moscow will once again have to use its military force to cool the hotheads in the West. At the same time, he stressed that Russia has all the necessary military capabilities to completely destroy the North Atlantic Alliance.
Now that's power talk right there. See, I would turn thee back, give you a little bit of history, but that's power talk right there. They said we ready, we got the firepower to destroy NATO. So it's getting funky.
By the way, the accumulation of Russian warships of the Baltic and Northern fleets in the White Sea indicates that Russia is indeed preparing to punish NATO and the Baltic region, using one of its most effective trump cards.
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Rose Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks does...
Yesterday, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported that a small missile ship of Project Karakurt successfully fired caliber cruise missiles in the White Sea. As a result of these firings, coastal targets at the Chiz training ground were destroyed. Well, nothing is surprising in this news for military experts. However, for everyone else, this news caused a lot of questions. Many were surprised by how the warship of the Baltic Fleet ended up in the White Sea, and what this ship was doing in the area of responsibility of the Northern Fleet. To answer these questions, we must look into the past. Namely, what happened 300 years ago. More than 300 years ago, Peter the Great, during the Northern War, faced the unpleasant need to drag 2 frigates along the land from the White Sea to Lake Onega. This need was very expensive, and required a lot of time. As a result, the Russian emperor put forward the idea of digging a shipping channel, which in the future would facilitate the transportation of ships. This idea was correct and everyone agreed with it. However, neither Peter the Great, nor the subsequent rulers of Russia, had enough money to implement this idea. Only in 1931, Joseph Stalin, realizing that the idea of Peter the Great can no longer be postponed, began the construction of the White Sea Canal.
See,
This ship canal.
This is that old Russia where they were doing things, because remember, that bear is separate from the 7 heads and 10 horns. So they always were known for doing their thing. So Russia is fairly new when you go into the history, when they really popped on the scene. The Scythians and the barbarians, which were Israelites, was up in that area. but they started to get that power within that the 8th and the 9th century. But you fast forward it all the way up to now, you're giving you some of that old Stalin history, how Russia was moving on its own, and the EU, the European Union, they had to get NATO started, which is a military force that includes America and NATO. So they suggest to stop Russia if Russia was ever to make a move. But these were aggressive moves. And now you can see that old Russia is back, but they back with some superpower now. It's a powerhouse.
Intended to give additional impetus to the economic development of the Russian North. However, the main purpose of this ship canal was military strategic. Few people remember that in the 20th years of the last century, the so-called Seal War between Norway and the USSR was going on in the White Sea over biological resources. Every spring, under the cover of their navy, hundreds of Norwegian and British trawlers entered Soviet waters and exterminated seals and whales in a barbaric way. The Soviet border guard on small ships could not prevent this. Moreover, Norway defiantly ignored all diplomatic requests from Moscow. The Kremlin understood that something urgently needed to be done about this. The White Sea Canal was built in record time. For comparison, the Suez Canal, 160 kilometers long, was built in 10 years. The Panama Canal, 80 kilometers long, took 28 years to build. The White Sea Canal, 227 kilometers long, was built in 1 year and 9 months.
Now, the history of the Panama, too. That's the canal, so that those imports and exports don't have to travel all the way around. To America to deliver its goods to the East Coast. So that Panama Canal was very important. It's sort of like this canal here. And this is where they put those cables. They just giving you some history, which is needful. You got to know all this is all prophecy. You need to know this history, to know where we going.
By the active involvement of prisoners in the construction, which later became the subject of criticism. However, it is worth recognizing that it was precisely Joseph Stalin who brought to life an idea that other rulers of Russia could not realize for 300 years. As soon as
Stalin was very stubborn. Remember, mind you, Russia was moving like a powerhouse at this time, within their own, what they can afford, with their right, and separate. Once again, we got to keep bringing that out from the 7 heads and 10 horns. So moving like this with the military might, the probably had to be stopped. A madman. But remember, the Lord said he was going to put hooks in Og's jaw and turn them back. So now they turn it back to this old stubborn spirit here.
Passed through the White Sea Canal into the White Sea, Norway immediately changed its position and stopped poaching in Soviet waters. In total, in the period from 1933 to 1941, with the help of the White Sea Canal, 10 destroyers, 300 patrol ships, and 26 submarines were transferred to the north. All this played an important role in the defense during the Second World War. That is why during the war, the Nazis tried with all their might to destroy the White Sea Canal. After the war, the facilities of the White Sea Canal were restored, and after that, numerous modernizations began. As a result, the White Sea Canal became a single deep-water system of the European part of the Soviet Union. Nowadays, it continues to function at full capacity. At the moment, Russia is reconstructing all the hydraulic structures of the White Sea Canal. Moreover, the Russian military also regularly conducts exercises to transfer the military fleet through this canal. Through this canal, Russia can freely send any of its fleets to the Baltic Sea, depriving NATO countries of the opportunity to observe what is happening. Thus, the White Sea Canal is integral to defending Russia's northern borders, which is especially important in light of NATO's plans for northward expansion.
So, you're going to see the Lord's going to have them two locked jaws, because this is end time prophecy. So all these canals, the weapons, the structure, all this comes from the heavens. So the Lord is he's about to unleash these final end time prophecies. So it behooves us to pay close attention if the Lord has the spirit on you for this. you know, because this is where it's at. This is where it's at. This is Revelation 17. I'm gonna start from verse 8. And the beast thou sawest was and is not, because he saw the prophecy, but everything didn't take place yet. This is the angel speaking to John. And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. This is Revelations 20 here. This is Esau, who you know as the white man, who's in charge of this whole structure. You know, Esau's in charge of Russia, they're in charge of EU, NATO, America, you know, Britain, you know. They came back. Remember, they established themselves and they implemented all the policies of the first dragon, which was Rome. This is all the Renaissance here. When they came out, they had something called iconoclasm, you know, with the destruction of icons, you know, the dark images that was up. We was ruling Europe for over 1,000 years while this man had no dealings. Nobody was dealing with these Edomites. They fell. That's why they don't talk about the dark ages, but the Lord brought them back. The Lord brought them out of the bottomless pit. See, they ascended. They came out with the help of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua. They came out of the bottomless pit, which is that low level, you know. And it says, and go into perdition. So they're set aside for destruction. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. Now everybody's wondering, because when this man came out, he came out strong. People couldn't believe that this man came out of that low position, whose names were not written in the book of life. So these people that's going to take the mark of the beast, they're going to believe in Esau's new kingdom, because they trying to have a third run. The Lord is bringing these Edomites down once and for all, but they don't want to go down without a fight. So they trying to create, they on a force, an artificial prophecy where they survive the nuclear holocaust. They survive the second coming of Yahushua and emerge as the phoenix from the rubble, from the fire, back into authority. Yeah, these are crazy men. They don't believe that they're going to go down. You see all that firepower that they got? This man is puffed up. So the rest of the people that's not written in the Lamb's book of life, which is what? That's basically the elect, the predestined ones. They all going all wonder after this beast. It says, I'm going to read it again. It says, names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. That's the elect. When they beheld the beast that was and is not and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads and 7 mountains, which are governments, on which the woman sitteth, which is America. These are 7 kings. See, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet. The 5 are fallen, which is Germania Major, Germania Minor. You had Greece, you had Spain, you had France, you had Rome, and you had Britain. If I'm not mistaken, hope I got everything just coming off the head. And we know Rome was ruling at the time, and Britain didn't come yet. They would have come later. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, which was Rome, and the other is not yet to come, which is Britain. And when he cometh, he must continue for a short space, which they had a short rule, and then everything switched over, especially the monetary system, to the dollar bill. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, which then this is America. So, because out of all of them came the merging of this small little country, the 13 colonies. You see, they use that 13. The 13 colonies, which they thought, hey, they'll never make it. They'll never survive. And then they grew, and they grew, and they grew. And America stood out, and they became the guy. The Lord made America the guy. This was like after 1945, after World War II, America was standing on top when they dropped that bomb. So they was like, okay, this is the guy right now that's going to lead us. That's why she's called the whore that sitteth on the beast. But now the Lord is bringing the whole structure down. And the beast that was and is not, even is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So they set aside for destruction as well. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour, which is roughly in the Lord's world about 50 years, with the beast. So they rolling. These have one mind, which they do. That's the alliance, and shall give their power and strength unto a beast, which basically America is running everything. So they're all rolling together for now. But that's why I said, well, this helps separate that alliance. And you know how Trump feels about NATO. So when all this do come out, when it get hot, and when it all comes out, because this is all leading to World War III, now you're going to see, but is Trump going to come out and say, we got no dealings with you, NATO? And will then NATO have to turn to Russia? Well, we keeping our eyes on the prize. We don't know how the Lord is going to do it. But according to these prophecies, it's being done. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. So they're going to try to fight against Yahushua in the Third World War. And the Lamb shall overcome them. See how the Lord threw that in there? So with all this going on, when our Lord show up, Yahushua, they're going to try to fight. Why? Because they want their new world order. But to tell you, the Lamb, Yahushua, you're in the scriptures, you're already dead, Esau. You're already lost. It says the Lamb shall overcome them with ease. Because the chapter right over for this, it tell you 1 hour you going to go down. It says, for he is Lord of hosts. So the Lord is watching this whole thing. And King of kings. And they that are with him are called the chosen and the faithful, which is the angels as well as the elect. So the Lord's men, the 144,000, they're on the earth right now, prophesying, watching this thing unfold and bringing the understanding through these prophecies. Let me just jump down to 17. For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. So all this that you see being done, these men are not moving on their own accord. The Lord has put in all these generals' hearts, these top men, the elites, the bankers, the politicians, everything is going according to plan. So they all are fulfilling Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah's will. This is how the Lord gets it done so that the Lamb can have something to smash when he come back. There's going to be a fight. Yahweh is called the Lord of hosts, which is the Lord of heavenly armies for a reason. He gave Esau this technology, these missiles. The Lord said, I created the smith, so they don't know. They all doing the Lord's will. Okay, for Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. Now we at the end of prophecy, when the Lord shall put all reign and authority under Yahweh's feet. It's a reason why the Lord built this modern day Pharaoh up. All these militaries. We'll tell you Isaiah 34. The Lord's indignation is upon all armies. So the Lord is boosting these nations up, boosting this Edomite up, who's in front of them for a fight. It's about to be a serious throwdown. And it's going to go down in the air. Like it tell you in Revelations 12. And Satan and his helpers, they going to fight. But the Lord, boy, we about to see our big brother Yahushua get busy. This thing is beautiful. So keep your eyes on these prophecies. And the woman which thou sowest is that great city, which is America, which reigneth over all the kings of the earth. Oh, did I finish out this? For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom to the beast until the words of Yahweh should be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sowest is the great city which reigneth over all the kings of the earth. And that's America for a time. Now the Lord has switched things. And now you can see it's getting hot. It's getting juicy. It's getting heavy. So these prophecies are taking place. So keep your eyes on this, you know, now you see what's going on in that White Canal area, the Baltic Sea, and NATO is moving without the agreement of look like Canada or America. You know, so things are happening behind the scenes. So pay attention, Akim, Akwath. We about to get out of here. All this is leading to our release date. That's why this is exciting news. Well, I'm going to end it right there, giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. A sincere Shalom, Labakarium, Shah Yasha'Allah, that's peace to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. Get ready, Akim, Akwath. We about to go home. Shalom.